Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 1998 film I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and this is directed by Danny Cannon and stars Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., Brandy Norwood and Mickey Pfeiffer. 2 years have passed since the events of the first film, and the fisherman seems to have followed Julie and her friends to the Bahamas. Now, just heads up guys, there are going to be spoilers ahead for this movie. Also, I've already reviewed the first film, so if you want to see that video, I'll leave it in the link down below. And keep an eye out for my review of I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer and the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, coming in just under a week. Now, one thing I really liked about this movie was the whole location change to go to the Bahamas and have Julie and her friends be stalked by the fisherman there. Now, it seems a very easy way to just do that and say, oh, we're just going to change it up a little bit there. But to be honest, it does give off a very isolated feel for these characters, because once they get there, there is no boat coming away from the island for the next couple of days. They've actually got to go there and then leave on the date that they're meant to leave. So even if this killer comes, and no matter how hard they try to get away, they're kind of stuck there. And also, I really like the whole idea to have bad weather there as well. So it's all in stormy season, and it's not like this bright paradise island that they think they're going to. And I think that really worked, having these big, rainstorms all of the time and bring a bit of a cloud, doomy cloud over to the island, because it just gives off a horror movie feel. If it was done in broad daylight and in this tropical place, I don't know, I don't think it really would have worked there. I really do like Jennifer Love Hewitt, who is our main protagonist here once again. She is plagued by nightmares of the fisherman because she's not actually sure if she killed him at the end of the first film. And if you remember the last scene of that original movie, the fisherman jumps out of the mirror in the changing rooms and basically the movie ends. But that apparently was a dream, because she's still plagued by these nightmares, especially as the date of the 4th of July approaches. They seem to be getting a little bit worse. But we as a viewer can sort of get behind her and feel a little bit sorry for her. We know everything she's saying is true, because she's gone through a lot in the first movie. She's tried to overcome that trauma, but it's still lingering there because, like I said, she's not sure if she actually killed him, and her friends don't really believe her, which sort of fires you up to get behind Julie even more there. She's not talking shit or anything. But I just think Jennifer Love Hewitt is a really good actress as well, so that helps matters even further. She's a really good final girl to have in these movies. I gotta say, Jack Black is a really fun character in this film as well. He just pops up here and there. Before his real big found fame, I'd say. He's in a lot more big blockbusters nowadays, isn't he? But he's this stoner who's just walking around the island, always trying to get everyone to smoke weed and buy weed off him. And I just found him to be a really fun, comedic little angle to have there. But there's this one moment where the fisherman kills someone. Jack Black's character thinks that he hears something going on behind him. And there's a little pull of the joint that just makes this really strange noise as he breathes the smoke out. And my God, I rewound that about 5 times. I was laughing my ass off at that. I gotta say, there's a really cool kill at the start of this movie as well, when Freddie Prinze Jr. and his friend are driving along and see this dead body on the road. The fisherman comes along and shoves this hook right through this guy's chin there, just grabs him out of the car. And I was like, holy shit, this is going to be a step up from the last movie in the terms of the kills, because that was a big negative for that film. But yeah, once I see it now, I was kind of wincing at the screen and like, yeah, man, this fisherman character's got a lot more potential to do stuff with this hook of a hand and have more creative kills. Now, guys, I just want to stress this before I get into the negatives here, because there's a lot more negatives than positives. But I found this to be a competent enough sequel, and it's a very easy watch. You don't have to think too much. It's a typical slasher sequel from the 90s, really. But, there was not anything really, stopping my enjoyment too much of the movie, and I'll explain on that more in a minute. But it's just, it doesn't really have any glowing aspects either, apart from the ones I just mentioned. So let's get into some negatives. Now, this is a little bit of a slight positive, but a slight negative as well. is the kills. Now, I just mentioned one that was really awesome there. And what I mean by saying it's a slight positive is that they are an improvement on the last movie. Last movie's kills were just off screen and just bits of blood being sprayed everywhere. And that is more of the same here. And it peaks with that first kill. But I would say there's a lot more buckets of blood thrown in here. The kills look a little bit more gory, even if you're just looking at the aftermath of things. So it looks like and feels like the fisherman in this film is a lot more brutal. But the characters in this movie are quite terrible. I mean, they're acted well enough. There's just so many little annoyances that they have. Like Carla, who is Jennifer Love Hewitt, Julie's best friend in this film. She doesn't seem like a very good best friend. Okay, she takes her to the Bahamas because she wins this competition on a radio. And that is what a good friend would do. But she's very, very pushy. She's always trying to get this Will character and her together and putting Jennifer Love Hewitt, or I should say Julie, sorry, in all these little awkward situations with him and then just walking away with her boyfriend so they have to stand there and chat. She's pushing her to do all these things she's not comfortable with, especially with the trauma she's been dealing with. I mean, she must know that she has struggled in the past year, especially with this fisherman character trying to hunt her down and everything in the last movie. But no, I mean, she doesn't care. She's kind of very selfish. She just wants to do what she wants to do and gets Julie to come along with it. So I really didn't like Carla as a character, to be honest. Tyrell, her boyfriend as well, was quite likeable at first. I thought at least he's sort of saving the movie a little bit in the character department. But halfway through the film, he turns into an arsehole and starts blaming Julie for everything and saying that, you know, she's not letting him have a good time and she's just a distraction. She's a distraction for me now. Half the time because he wants to have fun and half the time because he's just really horny and wants to bang his girlfriend. But yeah, I mean, at first he was fine and I just kind of really disliked him. Also, we've got this hotel owner who's very, very rude to these characters as soon as they turn up at the hotel. And I'm just like, yeah, man, if TripAdvisor was around there, you'd be getting such a negative rating. No hotel owner would act like that. Yeah, it just seems extremely rude, to be honest. There's just no need for it. So, the characters in this movie, man, were just so lame. There's also this little love triangle going on here with Julie is thrown in the situations with Will, like I just mentioned there. She doesn't really like Will too much. She sees him much more of a friend, and Will really likes her. That just makes it feel very off and cringy that Will is trying way too hard. There's nothing there. You know it's never going to happen, but the movie constantly tries to make the audience want it to happen, even though I didn't, because I think Will is just a very bland character. You know, he's kind of annoying at times as well. But Freddie Prinze Jr., who is Julie's boyfriend from the last movie, he's on the scene. He's planning to get engaged to her and everything, but he's such a little bitch. Like, he's always telling Julie off and everything for being selfish, when it's not that. It's because the events of the first movie are still stuck with her a little bit there. But other things as well, like she says, I'm going to the Bahamas with my friends. Do you want to come? And he goes, oh, so you're going with your friends, but you can't come out with me for the weekend. It's like, she just invited you on holiday for free. Get over it, man. You go to the Bahamas. Yeah, he's just, I wasn't too fussed on him in the first movie. He was fine, but here I really didn't like him. I just didn't care about this whole romance angle with Julie. I didn't really want her to get with any of these two nerds, to be honest. But there's some very tired cliches in here that the first movie is plagued with, but one of them is very similar to the scene where the killer has a body in the boot of the first movie with all the crabs, and then Julie runs up the street, comes back, the body's been removed with all the crabs out of the boot of her car. There's one kind of like that here where Julie goes up to her room and this dead body drops from the wardrobe. There's blood everywhere. And she runs down to tell her friends who are just at the bottom of the hotel. So they must come back within, 5 minutes at most. And the body's gone. Not a trace of blood anywhere. So the killer got in and out and was able to remove that body. Yeah, I ask you to suspend your disbelief once again here. And I was just like, no one is that quick, no matter how much of a cold, psychotic, calculated serial killer you are. And there's also there's poor character decisions that sort of, for me, are poor horror traits, because characters make so many bad decisions in horror movies. But after that scene I've just talked about, where this body falls from the wardrobe, Julie is told by her friends who don't believe a word that she's saying, like I said at the start of the review, especially Carla, who's not a very good friend at all, tell her that she's imagining this stuff and that body did not drop out of the wardrobe. So, you know, just try and have fun and forget that it even happened. And Julie, this is the one thing I didn't like about in the movie, kind of just goes along with that. And she goes, okay, I'm going to go and get a tan on the sunbed and put this Walkman in and basically just listen to some music. So I can't hear anything outside of the sunbed. I can't see anything there because anything could be happening to my friends, but I've got this Walkman on, even though I've just seen a dead body in my damn apartment. That to me is one of the worst, if not the worst, character decision I have ever seen in a movie, especially from Julie, who kind of knows what this fisherman is capable of and all this worrying that she's done in the past few years. She just goes, oh, fuck it, fuck that dead body, I'm going to go and get a suntan session. Yeah, that just really, really is annoying. Also, there's this killer on the loose. These characters have found dead bodies everywhere, and this random guy who's just sitting on the island goes, oh yeah, I can take you to this cemetery, even though it's pissing down with rain, it's pitch black. We've got to go into the woods to show you this gravestone that is related to the killer of Ben Willis. It might be Ben Willis's gravestone. I can't quite recall what it was, but it was integral to the killer. And understandably, these people may want to go and visit this gravestone, but really, the killer is running amok, and you're going to go in the woods and just hang out with this dude you don't even know. And then this dude, for some reason, in fact, no reason at all, leaves them at the gravestone and just kind of backs into the woods there and leaves them there. Why? It's just so weird. It's a strange decision. Yeah, I'm scratching my head a little bit there going, what are these characters doing? But don't worry, Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character Ray is at the scene to save the day. Buys a gun from the shop, turns up, and he's about to shoot the killer, and the gun is not loaded. Nice going, Ray. I always knew you were a jerk, and this is why another reason I just don't want Julie to get with you, because, yeah, you're just a little bitch. Also, this movie asks the audience to be very, very stupid and very silly. Now, I'm not saying everyone knows the answer to this, but I'm betting there's a good portion who do know the answer to the capital of Brazil. So, Julie and Carla win this holiday at the start of the movie because this radio station phones them up and says, if you want to go to the Bahamas, all you got to do is tell me the capital of Brazil. And they guess that it's Rio, and it isn't Rio. That is not the capital of Brazil, but they win the holiday anyway. Now, I'm just wondering if many people in the audience, especially at the time, are scratching their heads going, something's not quite right here. This is all going to be a setup because Rio is not the capital of Brazil. And, you know, that's just common sense for some people there. And I don't quite get what the whole point of that was anyway. I mean, if this killer really wanted them to go to the Bahamas on this fake radio show, why didn't you just ask them something a lot easier, like the capital of the UK or the capital of France? Does it matter if they get an easier question and get it right? He wants them to go anyway, so that would be a better way of getting them there, wouldn't it? So I asked them something a little bit more awkward. I don't know. So it just didn't make sense. Also, the reveal of the killer being Will Benson alongside his father, Ben Willis, in this movie is one of the worst reveals I've ever seen. Not only is it so totally obvious that he is going to be involved all along, but when it is revealed that he's the killer, he goes, didn't you catch on, Julie? It's me, Ben's son. So he called himself Will Benson to say that he is Ben Willis's son. Moving on.
Why, come on, Jules, think about it. You'll get it. Will Benson? Ben's son.
Look, guys, like I said, this movie has a lot of negatives. I think this is going to go down for me as a movie that is so bad it's good. Because like I said, it's perfectly watchable. You don't actually hate everything that's happening. You're just kind of rolling your eyes a little bit and laughing along with the decisions of this script and what these characters are doing. So yeah, it's kind of falling in that category for me. So I'm not going to be rating this a 1 or 2 out of 10 or anything, despite all these negatives. But it's just a very silly movie. Okay, guys, yeah, I'm going to rate this movie now, and I'm going to give I Still Know What You Did Last Summer A 5 out of 10, yes. Didn't hate it, perfectly watchable. Not as good as the first movie, but man, I'm scratching my head at times going, what the hell is going on here? Okay guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact that I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is that Jennifer Love Hewitt never starred in another horror movie until 27 years after this one was made. And that movie is going to be the new I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, because she didn't want to be typecast as a scream queen. So, yeah. Although she's a pretty good scream queen in my opinion, but it just wasn't to be. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. What do you think of I Still Know What You Did Last Summer? Please do let me know in the comments down below. Very, very turn your brain off and leave it at the door type movie. Yeah, so if horror is your sort of thing, please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel if horror is your sort of thing. Thanks so much guys, you take care. I'll see you all in the next video.